Long ago, the Oglodi capital was a shining beacon of art and philosophy. And then they met the Tarnsmen, a barbarous group of demon worshippers. The Tarns lay siege to the Oglodi's great city, sating their bloodlust on any they could find. It was a massacre. The battle ended only because the Tarns grew bored and left a great civilization in ashes. Ever a resilient people, the Oglodi rebuilt and started again, referring to the razing of their capital as the Bleak Day. But for some, rebuilding was not enough. They believed that forsaking the martial in favor of the esoteric is what led to their downfall, and so they left and formed the first Red Mist Horde.
The Oglodi are a race of red-skinned humanoids known for their physical toughness and their respect for strength. Long ago in the past, they used to be spellcasters who focused on research and magical secrets, but their innocence and their curiosity was betrayed by the Tarnsmen, who almost butchered them all. This event forced the Oglodi to form the first horde and return to their old ways of conquest and martial superiority. After 7 long years of war in what is known as the Campaign of the Thousand Tarns, the Oglodi were successful and defeated the demon worshippers. Mogul Khan became the leader of the horde after this last battle. However, leadership positions in Oglodi culture are not passed through political means, but through force. You must kill your superior in order to obtain his spot. And Mogul Khan killed everyone. Many Red Mist soldiers had died in battle, but a significant number had also fallen to Mogul's blade. After killing every single leftover member of the battalion, Mogul Khan named himself the new Red Mist General and took on the ultimate title of Axe. But his troops now numbered 0. Eventually, Axe would go to leave the Oglodi in search of adventure, but the Horde would regroup years later under the leadership of a new Khan, Sorla Khan. Sorla, however, wasn't as kind-hearted as Axe was, or as any other general had been in the past. She was heartless, dark, uncompromising, and was willing to sacrifice everything in order to ensure the prosperity of her people. So when she took on the position, she set her eyes on a new enemy, a bigger enemy, Stonehall.
I know my parents feel betrayed that I left with the Red Mist. My path was set to be an artisan, but they didn't see Sorla Khan's stand in the marketplace. They didn't hear her talk about the old ways, about how the Red Mist isn't about destroying the past, but about protecting it, honoring it. Together, we're going to build a better future for the Oglodi.
I'm not oblivious to my reputation. I won't even pretend that it's unearned. I've led the Red Mist from town to town, taking whatever it is we want. And what we want is to survive. So yes, I am a warlord. I have done and will do unspeakable things. But make no mistake, I am no conqueror. I am the savior of the Oglodi. It is just an unfortunate reality that my people's salvation means your people's destruction.
The Red Mist Horde is on the march, looting and destroying every city that stands between them and our great capital of Stonehall. If we wish to protect our home, if we wish to stop these monsters, we must be willing to do whatever it takes.
Sorla Khan had set her eyes on Stonehall, though so far her reason appears to be a little bit of a mystery. Probable that she saw this as a defensive measure, a way to save the Oglodi from possible conquering made by Stonehall in the future.
The forges of Stonehall blacksmiths burned day and night, fueling Emperor Galanius' war machine. The bull snake is a fitting symbol for Stonehall. They conquer, they occupy, they move on.
Stonehall is a large city and the seat of power of Emperor Galanius. This empire has annexed many settlements, cities, towns, and armies throughout its years conquering the regions.
To say Galanius is a polarizing figure is an understatement. The Emperor of Stonehall is seen by many of his people as a savior who brought them safety. To others, he is a merciless conqueror that has destroyed their people's way of life. But no matter their position, everyone knows better than to publicly question his authority.
And so, the Red Mist Horde marched towards Stonehall, uncompromising, unstoppable, and unbeatable, destroying and looting on their way to the Empire's seat of power.
Besiege Stonehall. I've seen Khans overthrown for even suggesting it. But when Sorla gave the order, not one of us batted an eye. Not because she's the strongest. Not because we fear her cruelty. But because we knew that she would die before she failed her people. And so the Red Mist marches. And may the gods have mercy on whoever stands in our way.
The Red Mist had separated their forces into two main fronts. One that would attack the fortified cities bordering Stonehall, and then another force which would sneak from the back, burn the countryside, and then through the forest make their way into Stonehall directly. One army would be a diversion and the other would surprise the capital from the back. Stonehall gathered the main bulk of its armies in order to protect the capital and its main fortified cities, whereas Treant, the Legion commander of the Iron Legion, which is a battalion of elite warriors from the Empire, went instead to protect the backside. Treant knew of the considerable firepower that the Oglodi war machine possessed, and figured that a siege in Stonehall would be extremely damaging, and as such, she devised a plan to ambush the Red Mist Horde in a location they would not expect. This region was Roseleaf. This place, however, was not empty. The passive and kind Vhoul lived in this place, a race of wolf-like looking humanoids who wanted nothing but to live in peace. The Iron Legion setting their ambush in Roseleaf meant that the Vhoul had to be occupied and, well, rule under martial law by the Empire of Stonehall. This meant that rations had to be conscripted from the farms of the Vhoul, that obedience was mandated, and that those that opposed this occupation had to be silenced.
I know these people think me a monster. I don't blame them. No one wants to be occupied, but it's in their best interests. If we weren't here in Roseleaf, the Red Mist would have slaughtered them all. Today the Vhoul see us as villains, but after we defeat Sorla Khan, the Bronze Legion will be heralded as the heroes we are.
This is where everything went wrong.
I'll never forget the first day of the rebellion. Treant sent me to collect rations from the farmers of Roseleaf, supplies in case the Red Mist siege would be prolonged. But it was a lead year for those farmers. I reported what they could spare, but Treant decided it wasn't enough, and so she instructed her thugs to take what they needed by force. After all, it was for their own good. Well, when her people arrived, they didn't find cowering farmers. They found an army that I will lead until my dying day. The men, women, and pups of Roseleaf deserve to live their lives free of Stonehall's grip. And while the price of their freedom will be blood, it is a price we are all willing to pay.
This was the Vhoul Rebellion, an insurrection against the oppression and occupation of the Iron Legion forces. This might have been expected, but what wasn't expected was who was leading this rebellion, for its leader was none other than an Iron Legion veteran, someone who had just betrayed the Legion in order to side with the Vhoul.
The powerful would have the weak be silent, to accept the status quo, to bend the knee, to accept their lot in life. For too long I was complicit in Stonehall's grab for power. It ends today. I will be the voice for my people, and I will not be silenced. I was conscripted to the Bronze Legion when I was a pup. They marched through my village with their shiny armour and promises of glory, and I couldn't sign on fast enough. I smiled when they put the conscript mark on my arm, because I knew that if I worked hard enough, if I followed orders, if I showed valour and skill in battle, I would make something of myself and become more than just a stupid savage from Redmore. And so I followed, and fought, and killed. And with every town we occupied, every insurrection we quelled, every voice of dissent I silenced, the words, "For the glory of Stonehall," grew hollower, and that bronze mark I took pride in became heavier. So now we march through Roseleaf to intercept the Red Mist Horde, and again my commander has asked me to speak to my savage people. Well, speak to them I shall. And when I do, they'll understand that I will fight beside them until every soldier is sent back to Stonehall in a bronzed coffin.
I'll never forget the day I met Rexx. It was in the early days of the revolution, when people were scared to even gather at night. We met in the tailor's wine cellar and Rexx talked. God, did he talk. Of passion, of mistakes, of his love for our people. I was mesmerized. We all were. So when he turned to me and asked what I could give to help the rebellion, there was only one answer. My life.
I knew this day would come the moment I agreed to host Rexx's gatherings in my wine cellar. But I wasn't ready for what it felt like to be pulled from my home in the middle of the night. I know it's only a matter of time before Dresden has me executed, and I won't lie. I'm scared. But we all have our parts to play.
I'm not some wide-eyed pup with delusions of being a hero. I know what we're up against, and I know I'll be leaving my wife a widow. But this is our home. How can I look my daughter in the eyes and say that when our only chance to free ourselves from the yoke of the Bronze Legion came, I stood silent? That so many of our brothers died for nothing. And maybe things would have been different if I just tried. No. I know what I need to do. And when I'm finished, others will as well.
The Bronze Legion is Stonehall's first line of defense. But sometimes the threats to our great nation don't come from external forces. They come from within. Situations like Rexx's betrayal are why Belisano formed the Stonehall elite. And it will be my privilege to end this rebellion.
But it did not end there. The plight of the Vhoul reached ears far and wide, and there were many of who were more than willing to lend their aid. And the first were the Treants that lived around Roseleaf.
I remember when the Vhoul first made their home in Roseleaf. At the time, they were not much more than feral beasts, barely worth the Treant's notice. But as the generations came and went, my cousins became fascinated as they watched a culture grow before their very eyes. So, when the Vhoul named their city after my cousins as a sign of respect, well, that fascination turned into a sort of love. And so, while the Treants of Roseleaf tried not to directly interfere with the goings-on of the Vhoul, they always try to help from afar.
The Treants of Roseleaf and the Vhoul have lived together peacefully for generations. But now interlopers have turned our home into a battlefield. We have made the call to our cousins in the Vale of Ogre. The Vhoul must be protected, and those that would despoil this place must be destroyed.
My feelings on the war in Roseleaf are complicated. Neither the Bronze Legion nor the Red Mist are threats to my people, and yet my cousins willingly intercede on the Vhoul's behalf. Their fondness for such frail creatures is strange to me, but nonetheless, they call for my aid, and I am compelled to answer. To fight alongside Roofed Felon is a great honor. With his help, I have no doubt that these trespassers will be removed in no time. But even still, sometimes I am filled with doubt. Today it is the Red Mist and Bronze Legion. Tomorrow it will be the Keen. When will the despoiling of our home ever end? This isn't my fight. But if I don't stand with the Vhoul, it's only a matter of time before the Bronze Legion comes for my people. A message needs to be sent, and it will be bloody.
A three-pronged war. 3 factions in one location. The Iron Legion, the Vhoul Rebellion, and the Red Mist Horde. If it wasn't for the rebellion, Dresden would have surprised the Horde and could have actually won. Sorla Khan thought so as much. but the rebellion and the war it created made it obvious to the Red Mist that the Iron Legion was in Roseleaf, which defeated the purpose of the ambush.
The Bronze Legion weren't supposed to be in Roseleaf, but it doesn't matter. We were going to have to face them eventually. On one hand, it's a shame. A warrior like Dresden deserves more than dying in some backwater Vhoul city. On the other, perhaps it is a mercy that she will be spared from seeing her beloved city burn.
The Bronze Legion thinks they can stop us at Roseleaf, but already the cracks are showing. Dresden is delusional if she thinks she can fight Rexx's rebellion and the Red Mist. No. Stonehall will fall. It's only a matter of time.
And now that it became obvious to everyone that a major confrontation was about to happen in Roseleaf, many different heroes and other factions joined in and picked their side. Factions like the City of the Weeping Rose, known as the City of Magic, sending their emissary. Heroes like Luna, Beastmaster, Darkseer, Necrophos, and Ursa with a bone to pick with a warring side. Or others like Meepo and Bounty Hunter who find themselves in Roseleaf for reasons completely unrelated to the events unfolding. This was also the case with the Centaurs.
Every year, a group of centaurs from the Marrowfell tribe are chosen to go on the Great Hunt. The goal of this expedition is to test the skill and endurance of the tribe's finest trackers. To these men and women, there is no glory greater than claiming the horn of a Thunderhide Alpha for their own.
The hunt is a sacred thing, and to be asked to lead it is a great honor. These centaurs claim to be the finest hunters of the Marrowfell tribe. We shall see if any of them are worthy to claim the horn of the Alpha. Every year, my clan comes to Roseleaf for the Thunderhide migration. And while the denizens of Roseleaf were a minor nuisance, we never bothered to hunt them. They were too frail to make a worthy trophy. But now, things have changed. This Rexx has stirred their blood, and now they fancy themselves warriors. Perhaps it's time to start a new hunt.
And it just keeps getting worse and worse. Fate has decided to make this a major battlefield, and many heroes are finding themselves stuck in the middle of this major altercation. The true mystery, however, lies on whether this is actually fate, or whether this has been purposefully organized for a darker purpose.
Something is stirring in Roseleaf. I'm not referring to Stonehall's war machine or the Red Mist Horde. No, those are problems of flesh and blood, distractions keeping attention divided from the real danger. The court of Roseleaf. But I cannot face this danger alone, and so I hope to meet with Luna of the Dark Moon. With the combined might of Selemene and the All-Seeing One, we may have a chance.
But what is this court of Roseleaf?
To those willing to step into a world of demonic etiquette and politics, the Court of Roseleaf is willing to offer considerable power for a price.
Considerable power for a price. Demons.
The dead are rising in Roseleaf, Nog. Someone took the oath.
The oath? What is this oath?
I know why you're here. Despite all your intentions and ambitions, things didn't go as planned and you need help. Help that the Court of Roseleaf is willing to provide. But before we lend you our strength, there's something we need you to do.
Someone took the oath, and now the undead are rising in Roseleaf. Could this be this entity seeks to return all the corpses from this war back to the living, back in undeath? Whoever would return all these bodies and turn them into zombies would have a serious army under their command, for many corpses will be found at the end of this conflict. But who is this mysterious figure? Who took the oath?
The Red Mist Horde is just the beginning. Another force is coming. I felt it in the winds and seen it in the bones. Something dark, something seductive, something evil. If we don't prepare for its arrival, it will certainly consume us all.
I do not know who this person is, this one who is collaborating with this enormous force that is coming. What I may know is what this major force is and what it seeks to do. However, this video is meant to focus on the Call to Arms expansion and the story in Roseleaf. The major confrontations between the Ancients and between Kana and Prelix will be left for the next video, where we will talk about the creeps, about Magnus, and the overall conflict in the end war from the world of Dota. As far as the winners of this battle, it still hasn't been decided. Each card in the game represents an event in the story of Artifact, some probably more canonically correct than others, but many of them are a direct window into what really happened in this war. If you look closely at the art for the cards, you can arrange most of them into a story, which is partially what I have done in this video. This story, however, seems to end with two cards: the card Duel and the card Bitter Enemies.
Look around you, Commander. This is what awaits your beloved Stonehall.
You're very confident for a woman who's about to die.
You have a high opinion of yourself.
No, just a very poor one of you. How many more of our people need to die? Let's just end this here and now.
Sorla Khan fights Treant in a duel to the death. The winner of the duel is unfortunately not known. The card Routed makes us believe that the Legion might have won the overall war, but it does not show a true end. But the main reason we don't have a true end to the war comes from the actual meaning of Artifact. The main reason we are here playing this card game. Players selecting cards, building decks, trying out spells, it's all just part of the actual world of Artifact. The player is a mage, using cards to manipulate the battlefield. See, in the world of Dota, in the world of Artifact, a powerful style of divination was discovered, and with this discovery, new schools of magic and houses rose up in order to harness it. This magic comes from cards, enchanted cards, similar to tarot cards in how some believe they can tell the future. Well, this comes from an actual magical item in this world called the Artifact, a precious and powerful sigil that can predict the future, manipulate the present, and maybe even changing the past. Mages combine the Artifact with cards imbued in magic to try and replicate events that have transpired in real life. If the cards are played in the perfect order, in very specific sequences, then the Artifact, which has been connected to the playing board, will start to hum and glow. When this happens, the cards that are played will change the present, almost as if predicting the future. This process is incredibly difficult to make happen, however, as the exact combination of cards that need to be played for the Artifact to work is not known. And so many mages play each other in these card games in hopes for the Artifact to trigger and make the world a better place by manipulating the present. They have been doing this for decades now, however, with some successes and some failures. Recently, a mage managed to activate the Artifact by using a Sister of the Veil in order to kill a Reften Merchant King, a play in the card game that became real in the real world. This created the card Murder Plot, which started everything in the story for this game. The Veiled Sisters are a secretive organization of assassins that receive their orders through meditation, a collection of women who ritualistically assassinate those that they're told to kill. In this case, for an unknown reason, the Veiled Sisters killed a Merchant King. This intervention completely changed the fabric of time and changed the future, because that Merchant King, the Merchant King Quel'Thias, was going to be the catalyst in a successful assassination attempt against Sorla Khan. Divination magic had ascertained that Sorla Khan was going to be assassinated before she even made it to Stonehall, or even Roseleaf, completely eliminating any threat that the Red Mist posed on the region. But because a mage playing this Artifact game activated the Artifact and changed time by playing this game, Quel'Thias was killed, and now the future was changed for the worst, inciting the events that unfolded in Roseleaf. We do not know who won in the three-pronged battle between the Iron Legion, the Vhoul Rebellion, and the Red Mist Horde, because it hasn't happened yet. The mages in the House of Cunning are frantically playing the Artifact game in order to predict what will happen, and to make sure that the outcome is favorable to the world. And this is what the video game is. We all, as players, are the mages that are trying every conceivable play possible in order to trigger the Artifact, and then make a play that will change history forever. I would like to thank Wyatt Curlin, Toby Oliver, Dylan Baker, Zach Vhoul, and Casey Butler for supporting me on Patreon at the $25 level. If you would like to support me as well, then please head on over to patreon.com/MrRhexx to help. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you on the next video. Good hunting.